you guys remember the erector set?
Uh-huh.
Right? You know, you had to put all the little pieces of metal together. It's exactly what this thing looked like. it was a square frame that went around the outside of the refractory bricks. It had a little piece on top of the pulley, and then a big stainless steel basket. It was lined with kale wool, which is the refractory material we use inside the kiln. So that was our very first iteration. That was the first time we had done Raku in this program. I'd done a lot of it in high school, so I really was familiar with the process. And so it was kind of a weird system. So you had the basket that went up and down like this. You had a kiln shelf set up down here, and you had a bucket of grog as a counterweight for the basket, right? Took a terribly long time to set up. But we ran that one for a number of years, and then as it turned out, we had an old kiln body, an electric kiln body. So we used that for a number of years, but we had to store it out back behind the center here with plastic over it, and the thing would get all wet. It doesn't matter how much plastic you put on something, it'd still get wet all the time. So it took a terribly long time to warm up. And then the bricks kind of popped, and so finally it broke down. And so I did a lot of research and came up with the trash can. I thought, well, you know, that sounds like it's easy to store.
Right.
It's great. You can like, we just got what, probably 5, 6 pots in there. So depending on size. So we've actually been using this one for probably the past 10 years, I want to say. Probably pretty close to. Kale wool just comes in a big, looks like a blanket, and you just roll it out and cut it to size. And then we were able to kind of fit it in there, fashion little buttons that we made in the class that we used some high temp wire with just to hold the kale wool up against the sides. And it's worked out brilliantly. This thing had spent a little time outside after the fire. We would move it into the back here to cool, and then by Monday we were ready to take it inside and store it again. So we've kind of kept the same burner for ever since that first iteration. That thing has lasted forever. It's been really amazing. The first number of years, we actually used to run it in just a single tank with this. The problem we came up against was the tanks would start to freeze up after probably about 2 firings. It developed a coat of ice around the outside, and then we found that the propane wouldn't actually turn into gas inside the tank. The tank was so cool.
Oh wow.
So by adding in this little manifold piece right here, we're able to run 2 tanks, and that keeps both tanks from icing up. And it keeps us plenty of gas flowing. We could probably do about 8 firings at least with 2 tanks. So yeah, we used to get 3 per tank. We'd have to dip the tank in a bucket of water and keep shaking it to get enough gas out of it and warm it up inside of there. So the process is, again, you know, we're using a Raku glaze. It's a glaze that's specifically formulated to mature at a lower temperature. Okay, we're not even really getting up to bisque firing temperatures with this kiln, right? So we obviously bisque fire it first, the piece, and then we have to use a very specific glaze that will melt at the temperature that we've got going on in here, which is maybe 1100 degrees at best. So we go from the Raku kiln. We'll take these out as that glaze starts to liquefy on the pot. We'll take it out. We'll bring it over to this bucket. This is our reduction chamber, because unlike firing in our electric kiln inside, which is an oxidized environment, right? Oxygen is always present inside of that kiln. We want to get that into a reduction chamber or a reduced oxygen environment. We want to get rid of that oxygen molecule, and so the pine shavings become the fuel inside of this chamber to eat up any of the oxygen that's present inside of that chamber. So we'll transfer the pots to the reduction chamber, we'll seal it up, and we'll give it about 20 minutes. What that does is it allows the pot and the glaze to cool enough for that glaze to set. We're no longer want to react with the oxygen in the air. So we'll move it from there, and then we will into a bucket of water, which will actually cool the pot pretty rapidly. So it's a beautiful day when your pot makes it through all three of the stages that we have going on here. That's why they call it Raku, right? It's happy accident. It's kind of loosely translated from Japanese to English. It's happy accident. So if it makes it, it's a great day. And 90% of pots make it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can withstand a lot of thermal shock, right? They're being heated rapidly in this environment. We didn't give it a lot of heat up time. Then it goes through a pretty rapid temperature drop going into here. Well, then you've got flames and fire burning around it, and then you go right into a pot of cold water. So there's a lot of temperature changes that are happening rapidly in the pot from one stage to the next. Generally, thinner wall pots, really thin stuff isn't a good candidate for Raku. You want to go for thick piece. That makes it more resistant to changes. So it'll hold inside of that temperature a little better. There tends to be, it's always been my experience with thin pots too, there's a lot more stresses that have been going on in play. If you've ever made anything really thin and then you went and misfired it and all of a sudden there's a giant crack right through the middle of it, that's a really great example of stress inside of the pot. Slabs are kind of notorious for stress. Any questions about this so far?
If you want to put the horsehair and stuff on it, you don't put it into there, right?
Nope, you just put it and then.
On that brick?
Yep.
Okay.
And so the way the horsehair works is it's a carbon. So like horsehair, feathers, something that's dry. Like you could use leaves, but because they've got moisture, they're not going to work as well. So that's why horsehair. I mean, human hair does work, but it's really stinky and it's kind of rude. So that's why horsehair is kind of the traditional, and it's a coarser. But what's really neat, and I don't know the exact physics of it, but at a certain temperature, the clay will absorb the carbon into the clay body. And so when it comes out, you're kind of testing it a little bit, because if it's too smoky, the pot's too hot, and it's just going to repel the carbon. If it doesn't do anything, the pot's too cool, and nothing's going to happen with the carbon. But if you get that perfect temperature, that's where you get those little cool squiggly lines. And so what I found is that the horsehair actually absorbs at a slightly higher temperature than the feathers. So like horsehair first, and then once you're finished with your horsehair, you have about 15 to 30 seconds in that prime, like depending on the size of the pot. Like a bigger pot's gonna cool down slower, so you have more time. So like I've made like these tiny little pieces, and the way I horsehair those is to take them out of the kiln and drop them into a pile of horsehair because they cool that quick.
Wow.
Like the pieces that I put in, they should
Thicker.
They should work. They should be okay. But it's really neat because once you get that magic window of temperature and the clay absorbs that carbon, then once it cools all the way down, that carbon is trapped and it's locked in, and you get those permanent black. A couple other things with the copper penny. Copper it's going to reduce. So if it does get oxygen, it'll turn green. So like you can see, like if some of our pieces come out and they're green, that means that they got too much oxygen. But what's fun is you can do it again. You can refire them. If you don't have success the first time, you can try again with that.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then also because it's not getting up to that cone 6, the clay is not vitrifying, which means it's porous, which means none of this stuff is food safe. So absolutely no eating or drinking out of any of these vessels because you'll get sick.
We're also using some chemicals that they use in places. Some of them can't leach into food, especially if they're using high acid food or something of that sort. So even though you may get a copper penny that's just all beautiful copper inside, it looks like you can pour water in it and have it hold the bond, the liquid. You still don't want to run the chance of leaching chemicals into it's copper. So water's not that great.
And they generally don't hold water. Like
Yeah.
the copper penny and the white crackle, if you do a good job on the inside and it gets a good seal, it can be a base and hold water. The horsehair definitely not. It'll just but yeah, so you can do some liner with the white crackle. I found that keeps the water in. But yeah, you still can't drink out of it.
Yeah, no,
So you could use it as a base.
Use it as a base. Yeah, I've seen people want to do them as centerpieces for weddings and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
And they've used like a spray acrylic on the outside. That works, and that works really good. And just kind of a note, AJ was talking about these pieces being really porous. You'll notice as they go into the reduction chamber and then come out, all those unglazed areas turn a very nice black. So it's another example of that carbon penetrating the clay body. If you notice, if we do get a piece that cracks, you'll see in the inside where or how deeply that smoke kind of penetrates the clay body. So glazed and unglazed areas on the pot, make some really nice design pieces. I've seen people do some spirals with glaze, and then that plays against beautifully the unglazed part of it.
And then just post firing, so you can see these little black marks. These are just like ash from the fire. And you can take a wool brush or steel brush, and just scrape them right off, and then they get nice and clean. Same thing with the copper. Like sometimes you'll have like little goobers. You can just fire those off.
Yeah, a little Scotch-Brite pad works good too. We used to have a little brush, round-shaped brush in there somewhere.
It was wire.
It wasn't wired. It's just
Hard, very hard.
And that worked really good for scrubbing and stuff off too. So I'll see if we can find a piece of Scotch-Brite or something.
We have some scrubby pads.
Scrubby pads?
You know, like that we do just usually. They're not my one. What if you burnish your piece? Say you burnish the inside, that kind of changes how it is. Could that make it? And then you say glazed it. Could that make it more watertight?
Oh, you can't glaze after you raku because you'll burn off all of the effects.
No, I mean, if you before you bisque fire it, if you burnish it.
Oh, I see.
And then you bisque fire it, so
It'll still be porous.
Yeah.
No matter how much you burnish it, and how smooth and beautiful and glossy it looks, you're going to lose a little of that gloss effect too. Because you've got that carbon that's now bound to the clay body. So even the smoothest burnishing will kind of black and be sort of a matte finish on it.
This is going to erode the exterior of your pot and make the exterior porous. It's just, I do want to play around with like trying vitrified porcelain and trying to raku it and seeing what that does, because we accidentally at another raku I did, not here, let it go too long and it actually got up to like cone 6.
Oh wow.
And it cracked my piece, but it looked really cool, so
Hi, is this one of yours?
Yeah.
I was going to, I saw that it was still sitting there at place, so I was going to take it home and then draw on it, but then some of my friends might come. So I was like, oh, I won't.
Very close.
Okay.
I just thought nobody was going to.
Okay.
Shine on the inside of those.
So when you guys are looking in there, what are you looking for?
We're looking for a couple of things. The inside of this environment starts to take on this kind of really weird, neat orange glow.
Yeah, it really
When
does.
you first turn it on, you'll just see some flame coming up the sides, but as it gets hotter and hotter inside of this chamber, it starts to get this beautiful orange glow inside there. A couple other things I'm looking for are the outside of the pot where it's glazed. It'll kind of go through a stage where it kind of foams up on the outside a little bit. I call it foamy or marshmallowy kind of looking. So it's kind of the glaze sort of expands on there as it's heating up, and then eventually it sort of just snaps back to the pot, and it takes on a very very liquidy looking aspect to the outside. That's kind of when you know that we've gotten to that point where it's ready to come out of here and go into the chamber. What that means is that it's all melted on the pot, and it's starting to kind of has a nice sheen to it. We actually are getting really close.
Goody gumdrops.
I wanted to redo a piece like this?
Yeah, I've done it.
I know, already I'm rethinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting very close.
So it's super hot. Yeah, you can kind of
Yeah,
see.
well, he has to sort of shield the heat to be able to look.
Yeah, well, you can see the
Yeah, yes.
Maybe about 10 more minutes.
Exciting.
Actually, I like to take it a little beyond the time. Sometimes if it's kind of comfortable, a little beyond that time frame.
And then for clay bodies, you really can use a real wide range. I use a Piperberg Raku, which is specifically designed to reduce, it holds up better. I also use porcelain, which is really cool. It does some really neat things with the white crackle because the cracks are longer. And then I've actually stressed it, so I burp the bucket, which is really fun because like a 5-foot flame comes out.
Whoa.
But it stresses the pot, but porcelain is a really nice clay body that can handle that. And so it can be structurally compromised but still hold together, so you get these beautiful big black cracks and then the micro cracks of the glaze. So I really like doing that.
I guarantee you will go home smelling like a campfire.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
But yeah, I did some pieces for my brother's wedding, and I structurally compromised them, so we were just burping the buckets all night.
Very close. Most of the pieces on this side now.
Yeah. I'm not, those are testers, so I'm not like, no, like, if the rest of them are ready, definitely,
So then I like. I'm like, well,
stuff on top of the pot after it lights on fire, just let it go on fire and then just cap it.
Yep.
There's like all sorts of theories on this, so I'm just curious.
You know, generally, I'll set the pots in there. Normally, we'll have somebody over here just throw a little bit more material on top of them, especially if we have to layer. So, if you have a big boom, you have a lot of pots, then the keeping of shavings, another layer, so then another layer of pots on top of that, some more shavings. So, it really just depends on how many are going in.
When I do some of my bigger pieces, I prefer to just leave them in my little thing for an hour.
when I grew up,
I don't dump them.
Okay.
the other one just
If you
like.
have enough cans, you can let it.
Yeah, you can just not let it sit
Yeah.
there.
But it's a first consistency.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm ready to have it off.
All right, I'm ready.
Turn off the heat. Or turn it down.
Rather not
I
have
guess
that
I
flame
keep
in my
it.
face.
There.
Yeah.
All right, guys, ready?
Okay.
Oh, so.
You want some pine cones?
And then you can leave the horsehair one in last.
Hardest
And
part is
I'll
getting the lid off.
Some random hair from some kind of
Okay.
animal.
So
Some
which
kind
one
of woodland
first?
animal.
Let's go with.
Wow, those are so cool.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Here you go. These two little ones are yours. Which way do you want to go, please?
Oh,
In here? On the side. Got it. Okay. Good. Helping the. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. And horsehair next.
Okay.
Oh, that smells
So-
lovely.
I'll show you. See, it's just smoky when I touch it. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's starting to get.
That's cool. Gorgeous.
Still a little hot. You can
Smoke
see how
follows
it's so
beauty.
hot. The hair is not really.
Bless you.
Thank you. Like burning hair.
It does.
What is it? Like horsehair specifically that it does this?
No, it's
Yeah.
any hair, but horsehair is coarser and it doesn't smell as bad.
Okay.
Like if you do human hair, it's a little rank.
Yeah, I've stood too close to a candle before.
Horsehair is coarser and thicker, so it's easier to deal with.
Yeah.
Human hair is just so fine that it just.
So you can see it's starting to.
That's beautiful. That's so cool. Maybe even $5
Like AJ mentioned
Oh,
earlier, you can use chicken feathers.
You did,
So I do have those, and I'll show you guys that.
Oh,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I don't have it today, so I was like,
Oh.
can I Venmo someone or okay? So I'm just
Yeah.
bringing it on Tuesday.
Yeah. And just give it to like Jen or something.
So is it like an animal organic material? That,
Anything that will burn?
oh wow,
Carbon.
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 Yep.
Okay.
But I think people prefer the horsehair because you can stretch it out, kind of like AJ's doing. You stretch it out and hold it up against it at the other end. And it creates those lines around the outside of the pot.
Yeah, I might as well.
Same with the feather. You hold the end of the feather and put it up against it, and it will create
So
the
I'll show
marking,
you.
the outlines, kind of, yeah. That's why some people like leaves and things if they're really dry.
Oh. Here's a feather I dropped. Oh, found it.
You can see how it's not accepting. So now when I go to do it, nothing.
That's because it's cool.
Yep. So it's no longer accepting carbon. If I wasn't happy with this, I could refire it. It would burn all the carbon off, and I can do it again.
Oh.
Don't touch it for a while. And then I don't know, the leftover, I'll wipe that all off, and the lines will remain. So those the texture that it's just like charcoal from a fire. You just wipe it off, but the black will stay. So.
Or if you like that effect, you could actually take and spray some kind of, when it's cool, some lacquer on the outside. If you want to keep a little smoky.
I have bean
smoky.
oil that kind of can amplify the effects of. You can give them that sheeny. They almost look like they've got a little bit of a sheen, like a glaze, but it's just oil.
Yeah.
If it's just a base and you're not using it, but
And that keeps like the smoke shadow on. Kind of?
it just gives it like a polished look, which is just for sell. I know I do a lot of wood firing, and I know people that will do the sheen. They'll do the bean oil on their pieces before they send them out to customers, even like cups and stuff, because they just look nice, even though it washes off over time.
What's the bean?
Yeah, it's I think it's bean oil if I'm remembering that. BEEN. I have some at home, but I'm trying to remember.
Where do you even get that?
I think I just got it at like a hardware store or Amazon. I can't remember the guy. I did like a workshop and he was telling us about it. He's like, "This is where I got it," and I just went there and got it, but I can't remember where now. But I should bring it.
You can spray it on plant, like a diluted one on plants.
Oh yeah.
It gets rid of like mites and
Oh cool.
yeah, like house plants.
Oh, so you can find it in the garden section.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
If you wanted to do a pot cleanup party, because a lot of the pieces that go in the cans, they get pock marks on the bottom because of the fire and the material, and just kind of, it really ruins the bottoms of your pieces, which if you want to use it as a vase, it's gonna like destroy your table. So I see you have one of those diamond, you can just and clean up the bottom, so I'll do that. But if you wanted to have a cleanup party, I'm happy to bring my stuff and show you guys how I make everything look pretty.
Okay, should we reload?
Yeah. Is it warm or is it cooled down enough?
It'll be just fine.
With a glove?
Now I will put it in with tongs.
Oh.
So, we have room for probably about.
Anybody?
Can I look in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did everything get brought out?
Not
Sorry.
necessarily. Not taken off the shelf, but
Not sorry.
Wow, all right.
This is going. I vote you coolest piece.
Okay. Well, yeah.
She's gonna be a horsehair.
Darren, this piece exploded in the this fire, but we disguised it anyway. That's okay, right?
Oh, yes. Maybe we can move the chain. Let me move the chain around.
Yeah, I can.
Did you put something in?
Yeah, it's all in there.
Oh, okay.
Not all of it. I have one more piece, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Are we gonna open up the
Yeah,
film?
let me go check on it.
Okay.
That might be good.